Venezuela is economically a very poor country, but a very rich country in natural resources. And in 2014, they didn't get their movement off the ground to walk in and take over and overthrow the government and install a puppet. They tried, but they didn't get that off the ground. And then since then, it went very, very quiet. You didn't really hear too much about Venezuela. You heard talks about the drug cartels, which I'm not disputing are obviously a problem. But there's also drug cartels in other nations in South America as well, including Mexico, and there's no talk of the US invading those nations. Certainly not as publicly as this. And so since the last few months, as I say, there's been more and more talks and more demonization of Venezuela. But there's been no direct talks, there's been no discussions with the regime there to try and get a grip on the problem that the US see of Venezuelan drug cartels. And instead, it's just essentially, there's been a war declared, but without declaring a war, because there's been strikes on what they're saying are drug cartel positions and boats and ships, but there's also evidence that they've been targeting civilian ships as well, or certainly that civilians have been caught in the crossfire of this.